It's been over a decade since The Wire went off the air, and yet the popularity of this HBO crime series continues to increase with each passing day. From academics to television critics to fans of the show, viewers keep going back to this classic David Simon masterpiece to dissect details and understand how the entire show came together so perfectly well. From Baltimore's drug epidemic to the city's misguided police department and the corruption prevalent in media outlets, the show draws attention to issues concerning urban life. While fans know a lot about the series, there are still some facts about the show and cast members that have remained relatively unknown. For instance, we bet not many of you know that the character of Felicia Snoop Pearson draws heavily from the life of the actor who played the role. Similarly, not many of you would know that The Wire directly or indirectly inspired the 2015 film Spotlight. In this video, we tell you some shocking facts about HBO's The Wire. Ed Burns' experience served as major inspiration for the show. David Simon worked with the Baltimore Sun for 12 years and wrote his Edgar Award-winning book Homicide: A Year on the Killing Streets during this time. In 1997, David collaborated with Ed Burns, a former Baltimore police detective for the Homicide and Narcotics Division, on The Corner, a year in the life of an inner-city neighborhood. The duo then worked together on The Wire, and since then have delivered various hit shows, including Generation Kill and The Plot Against America. David has often spoken about how he drew from his experiences to conceptualize the show. However, not a lot of people know that most of the characters and situations were contributed by Ed Burns. In 2002, after the series premiered, David gave an interview to Salon in which he mentioned that Ed spent a lot of time investigating drug traffickers, and that helped him conceptualize various crucial parts of the show. However, while researching, the two stumbled upon the material on Enron and the Catholic Church sex scandal, which inspired them to revise what would have been a straight cop show into a show that explores the relationships between individuals and institutions. David Simon wanted to cast John C. Reilly as Jimmy McNulty. The Wire owes a lot of its success to its incredible cast. The show featured some of the most talented faces on screen. One of the most memorable of the Wire characters is Jimmy McNulty, a detective in the Baltimore Police Department. The role was played by the English actor, musician, and director Dominic West. He was so good on the show, most fans didn't even realize that he was English. However, as is the case with the most memorable characters, Dominic wasn't Simon's original choice. Simon originally wanted to rope in John C. Reilly as Jimmy. Simon had even called Reilly for the role, but the Gangs of New York actor didn't show much interest in the series, and then Simon got Dominic's audition tape and was immediately convinced. Wendell Pierce got the role of Bunk Moreland because of a tiff he had had with a cab driver that day. William Bunk Moreland is another memorable character from The Wire. Many fans don't know that Simon and Ed based Bunk's character on a retired Baltimore. Felicia Pearson took inspiration from her own life for her on-screen character. Felicia Snoop Pearson is a soldier in Marlo Stanfield's drug organization, and through the series' final 3 seasons commits the most horrendous crimes. Fans remember her as one of the coldest but calm villains on television. In fact, Stephen King gave her the title of the most terrifying female villain on television in an Entertainment Weekly column. Felicia's name, as well as her character, were inspired by the actress of the same name who played the role. Baltimore Sun did a profile on Felicia, in which it was revealed that the actress had grown up on the streets and had done jail time for second-degree murder during her teenage years for killing another teenager. Felicia met actor Michael K. Williams after coming out of jail, and Michael invited her to the set of The Wire. Her story impressed the writers and producers, and they decided to give her a small part. Her part was later expanded. Are you enjoying these facts about The Wire? Well, your favorite show may have never seen the light of day had David Simon not impressed HBO execs with his impressive pitch. We'll tell you all about that in a minute, so stick around. Meanwhile, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Tom McCarthy eventually directed one of the best journalism movies of all time. Scott Templeton is one of the most hated characters from the show. Played by Tom McCarthy, Scott is an unethical Baltimore Sun journalist who cooks up stories and fills them with lies to make them interesting. We're certain Tom learned a lot about journalism while on the set of The Wire, as the man eventually directed one of the best journalism movies of all time, Spotlight. Spotlight follows the Boston Globe, the oldest-running newspaper in the country, as its team of reporters investigates child sex abuse allegations against the Roman Catholic Church in the Boston area. David Simon received an angry call from the then mayor of Baltimore, Martin O'Malley. Though The Wire had many fans, some people were discouraged by it, one of whom was the then mayor of Baltimore, Martin O'Malley. O'Malley was pissed with David Simon and was of the opinion the show portrayed Baltimore in a bad light. He wanted Simon to include good things about the city and especially highlight through the show the work that O'Malley had done as the city's mayor. So he made an angry call to Simon and made his stance clear. When Simon didn't entertain O'Malley's idea, the mayor made it clear Simon should look for another city to produce the rest of the show. Thankfully, the then director of Baltimore's film and TV division was more understanding and realized what the show meant to the city. However, she too was of the opinion that the show must also include some good things about Baltimore. David Simon later converted O'Malley's phone call into a Baltimore magazine piece. Imagine the mayor's anger. Season 2 of the show didn't just surprise audiences but also cast members. To many, The Wire was a cop show about the drug trade in Baltimore, when in reality, it was a show that focused on showing and explaining to viewers how every aspect of life is interconnected in an urban city like Baltimore. The first season of the show focused on the Barksdale drug trafficking organization and introduced viewers to Avon Barksdale, the most powerful drug lord in Baltimore, and the major crimes unit set up by the BPD to nail the drug kingpin. However, Season 2 of the show abruptly moved from drug organizations and heroin trade to union and dock workers. The move did not only leave audiences baffled, but also confused the show's cast members, including Michael K. Williams, who played Omar Little, a Baltimore man who frequently robs drug dealers. Obviously, Michael was upset, and he even made it clear to David Simon. Ed Burns used his experience and time with the Baltimore public school system to conceptualize Season 4. Season 4 of The Wire was arguably the best season of the series, and the credit for it goes to Ed Burns. He used his experience with the Baltimore public school system to conceptualize Season 4. Not many people know that after quitting the Baltimore Police Department, Burns worked as a teacher in the public school system there. After Season 4 premiered, Burns did an interview with NPR in which he explained his view of the flawed public school system that exists in Baltimore as well as other large cities. He explained that the school system was designed in such a way that it unknowingly prepared the students for life on the streets. According to Burns, when students argue with teachers, they're sent to timeout rooms. These kids eventually hit the streets, and many of them either commit murders or become victims of murder. Simon's response to the U.S. Attorney General's request for another season was epic. After the show ended in 2008, many people requested that Simon make another season. Eric Holder, the U.S. Attorney General under the Obama administration, also asked Simon and Burns to create another season, though his request was more of a jibe than an earnest appeal. In response to Holder's request, Simon replied that he and Burns would love to do another season if the Attorney General reconsidered his prosecution of their destructive and dehumanizing drug prohibition. Basically, Simon very politely reminded the Attorney General to stop making jokes and do his job. Convincing HBO wasn't easy, but David Simon managed. Though HBO had produced hit crime-based series, including The Sopranos and Oz, in the past, the network wasn't known for its cop-based shows until 2002. Consequently, David Simon knew that convincing HBO execs wouldn't be easy, so he worked on creating a very compelling pitch. In 2006, Entertainment Weekly did a piece on The Wire, and as part of the profile, the magazine spoke to Carolyn Strauss, former president of HBO Entertainment, about how David convinced the team and the network to agree to the show. Carolyn shared that instead of focusing solely on why the show would be a hit, he also delivered a very compelling pitch about how HBO should do a cop show to compete with the big networks and beat them at their own game. We hope you enjoyed these shocking facts about HBO's The Wire. Did you learn something new about your favorite show, or were you already aware of all these facts? Is there something you'd like to add to the list? If yes, please leave your comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to stay updated about all our latest videos.